Hi, today we're going to talk about this little mini book which uses the Hodgepodge book kit from Jenny Bolin Studio. In your kit you'll have one of three designs, one that says look, one that says read, or one that says open. But you can customize this word at the top to say whatever you'd like, so don't worry too much if it's not quite the right word. Now, each kit has different designs, but the same elements. So each kit has a bingo card, each kit has a cover, each kit has a seed packet and a transparency and a frame, and then this and one other page. So even though the designs are different, they all work the same because they're all the same size and shape and all the same features, just different designs on each page. So go ahead and unpack this book kit and put the rings aside, but make sure you don't lose them, as that's what's going to hold our book together when it's all finished. And then I'll take you through the other supplies that you will need. Also in the kit you have three things. A sheet of labels. Now these are all used because they're from the book I've just put together, but you'll have a whole sheet of labels to use. And then you'll have two lettering sets. One is the bingo card lettering tiles, and one that's rub-on letters that also has numbers and lines at the bottom. The first thing I do with my rub-on sheets is to staple them together so that I won't lose this backing sheet and accidentally stick my rub-ons to something while I'm working on my project. Okay, so then a few other things you'll need to gather from your stash. Choose two colors of cardstock. I went with a green and a cream, but you can pick whatever colors will work best for your photos. I would go with one that's light enough that you can write on it. Now I chose, so here are the two I picked, a green and a cream, and you just need one sheet of each, whatever color you would like. And then I'll take you through the other things. I used some plain ribbon. You want to pick something that will match with the cardstock that you picked, and you can see it's peeking out here and there. So you'll need about 18 inches or half a meter, but you can use different ribbons if you don't have that much of the same one. So just pick a ribbon or several ribbons that you like. And I used a stamp set. I used this stamp set that's labels by Jenny Bolin. If you don't have this stamp set, don't worry. You can use another set of labels, or you can draw boxes, or you can leave them out entirely. So please don't worry if you don't have these stamps or anything similar. We're going to do a little bit of stamping on top of the photos, so I've used a Stays-On to make sure it won't smear and it'll dry nice and quickly. And I've used 3 punches. One border punch. I've used this large scallop, but you can use any border punch you have and like. And then these two, one scallop circle. If you don't have a scallop circle punch, you can use a plain circle, or you can use a scallop circle in a different size. And this photo label punch, which punches all 3 tags in one go. But this is just rectangles with the corners cut off. So if you don't have this punch, please don't worry. You can just cut rectangles that will be the right size, and it won't be any trouble at all. So 3 punches that I've used. You'll also need a hole punch. I've used a crocodile, but there's nothing too heavy, so you can use a standard hole punch if you don't have a crocodile. A stapler, some glue dots, and a regular adhesive roller. I've used some brown distress ink and the ink applicator just to go around the edges of things and add a little bit of shading. I've used 2 mists, a glimmer mist in sand, just something nice and neutral, a bit brown, and Mr. Huey in white. It's just, there's no sparkle to this, it's just plain white paint that sprays across your layout. So something light and something a bit darker. And I've used an acrylic paint in blue. This is a Jenny Bolin for Ranger paint dabber in soap powder, which is the light blue shade. But it doesn't need to be a paint dabber. It doesn't need to be this specific color. Any acrylic paint that you would like, and a brush that you can use with it. And then my scissors Journaling pens, I use American Craft Precision Pens, the 03 in black and brown. Use whatever you like. And a block for the stamps. Then, for your photographs, you can expand this book to include as many photos as you want. What I suggest is 6 4x6 photos that are portrait, because the pages are all portrait oriented. And then a selection of 9 or so smaller pictures, which can be 2x3, 3x3, or 2x2, and they can be all the same or they can be a mix, but they need to be quite a small size. Okay, so I'll pause there. I'll let you get all your supplies together, and then press the play button again when you're ready to start. Okay, we're going to look at this page by page, and you can pause the video and stop and start as many times as you would like. So we're going to start with the cover, and I'll set the rest of the pages aside. The cover, there's no photos, and you are going to start with your 2 sheets of cardstock. The first is a scallop circle flower, and that uses 6 scallop circles punched from one of your cardstock sheets. Okay? And we did this in the evening class if you were there. So you're going to take the cardstock circle and bend it around the end of your pen. So that it ends up all squashed. Okay? You can press the pen down and pull it up if that's easier. If your cardstock is really thick, you can even spray it with a little bit of water to make things easier. Then we're going to add a glue dot to the end here. And then we're going to add the next layer. Just press that into the center and then fold this up again. Squash it as much as you can, and then repeat for every circle. So we put a glue dot on the end, put this in the middle, and fold the flower up, glue dot, new circle, glue dot, new circle, and obviously as you get to the end they won't crunch up quite as far. The last one, you just barely squish at all, and that creates this flower. Now to finish it like the one that's here, I start with the Distress ink and the ink applicator, and I just brush around to catch all these little petals on the edges. And then we want to add something to the center. Just use whatever you have on hand. This little green button is a Jenny Bullen button that was in your layout kit from the earlier session. So you can use that if you still have that left over, or you can use any other button or brad, or even just roll up a little piece of paper and put it into the center so that the space where your pen was will be filled with something else. Then for the rest of this, choose a word that you'd like for your title and use the lines at the bottom. There's 3 sets here at the bottom of the rub-on, and then your rub-on letters right over the lines, and then cut that box. This is the same cardstock I've used for the flower and for this, and I put the smaller word of my title on a punched piece of that same cardstock. So I'm using that cardstock 3 times on the cover, on the flower, this label, and this larger title block. Then this green piece here. I die cut this into a little label shape, but you can use a rectangle, you can use a punch, anything here. But it's the second piece of cardstock, so you're introducing both colors here on the front cover. So cut a piece here. And then we have a label and the ribbon. Now this label is actually a smaller label than what it looks like. I can show you on the label sheet. It's not this long label, it's this shorter label, but I've cut it in half, I don't know if you can see here, to spread it out behind the flower so that it looks like a longer label. And then I've just added the ribbon, and all the ribbon I've used, I've always cut with this edge. So to do that, you take the ribbon and fold it in half, and just hold it with your fingers, and then cut so that you're cutting a shorter piece on the folded edge, so that you get that inverted V, and that will keep your ribbon from fraying as well. And I've held all that in place with glue dots on the cover. And then when the cover was done, I've misted with both the brown Glimmer Mist, the Sand Glimmer Mist, and the white Calico Mr. Huey spray. And that's the cover. The back of that page is a 4x6 photo that's been glued straight to the back and then trimmed off. It was a little bit taller here, so I've cut a tiny bit off the top edge, and it's a little bit too short here, so I add a border punch strip, and I've used this border punch, but you can use any border punch you like, from that same cardstock that I used for the flower. That goes along this edge to cover up the bit that's left showing from the photo. And then of course you'll have to re-punch the holes, so you just turn it over to see where the paper is and punch following the holes on the front as a guide. So the photo stays here, and then here I have used the long label, but I've adhered it once and cut off the extra and adhered the other part there. So both pieces here are this one long sticker. Then I've added the rub-on letters. The stars are also on that sheet, and one more label punched from the same cardstock here with a handwritten word. And then to mist this, I cover this part with my hand or a piece of paper and spray so that I don't get mist all over the picture, but I have some up here which I quite like. Okay, so that's the first page and the back, and then we'll look at the next piece. The next piece is a seed packet, and I put a small photo on the front with a label and just some ribbon stapled to the label, but it's not stapled to the seed packet, and then it's just adhered on the top. This is the same cardstock that I've been using, the same cream cardstock, but I've sprayed it with the brown mist and inked the edges. That's nice and easy. Then turned over, and I folded this closed and stamped the label here. And this is where your journaling sheets can go, so you can write loads of notes and put it inside. And I've used a label sticker here with the rub-ons again. And this little butterfly was from the layout kit. So if you still have those, you can use that. Otherwise, you can use a punch, you can make a little flower, you can put any little embellishment you'd like here. And then a square photo and another label here to label that. And then I've sprayed over this with both the brown and the white mist. The butterfly here was originally just plain chipboard, and I've painted it with the blue paint. All of my small photos I've matted on the green cardstock. So if you want to, you can take all of your small photos and go ahead and crop them and mat them to start. And then they'll be ready to just stick on. Okay, so here's the front of the seed packet and the back. And then your journaling goes inside. This next piece is optional. I had another photo I wanted to include, so I've cut this tag shape from my cream cardstock, and it's just a rectangle with a border punch at the side, and then I've cut off the two corners here to make a tag shape and punched a hole. Now, I wanted to use this quote, and so I took the butterflies that were the same butterfly from here, which could be chipboard, but it could also be a punch or anything else that you have handy. And I just placed 3 of them on the cream cardstock and then misted with the sand glimmer mist. And then wrote my quote over the top. On the back, I've misted again and just used the label stamp to have a place to write, and added the photo again, the mini photo, so it's matted on green. Really, really simple. Now, if you have lots of extra little photos you want to include, you can make as many of these sorts of tags as you want because they're very quick and they don't take much in the way of supplies, and they'll add a little bit more dimension with the smaller size and the border punched edge. My next page looks like this, and it has no photo on the front, which is why I wanted to include the photo here so that when you turn the page it matches up. And I started here with the quote made from handwriting, the rub-on letters, and the bingo tiles. For the bingo tiles, I cut out each letter with the scissors and then go around the edges with brown ink. I like that they're not quite exact. I like that they're all slightly different rectangles. So I glued all those down, and then I added mist again, so white mist and brown mist. On the back, it looks like a postcard, and I've added a strip here of cream cardstock that I did just the same thing that I did on this tag, where I've put the butterfly down and misted over the top. I've got a mini photo that's matted on green, bingo tiles, and then just some layers here. So there's a round label sticker, a green punched label, a label stamp here, and a smaller label with handwriting. And then just a little bit of ribbon folded in half and stapled through. I've just stapled it through these layers so the staple doesn't go through to the back of this piece. The next page is a transparency. Let me put some paper underneath so you can see it a little bit better. There we go. The trick to the transparency is to do both the front and the back at the same time. So I've used 2 photos, and again you can mat these on green. I just realized that I didn't mat this particular pair, but it would work just fine with a mat. So I've got one photo here and another photo here, and they're exactly the same size. So I start by adhering the photo, turn it over, and adhere the other photo so you can't see anything from the other side. Then I added a label sticker here. So I turned over and I added a label sticker here. I added a punched label, so I turned over and added a punched label here. And then I just had a little bit of room to fill, so I just added a little stick-on pearl. You could use a stick-on gem, a little bow, a little punch, anything that would just fill a gap, or your writing might take up the whole bit and then you wouldn't need anything extra. And just to make the edges stand out, I used Stays On just to go around the corners here, the edges, so that you can see the outline of that nice label shape. The next page is the frame, and what I would suggest is that you do the embellishment first before you add the photo so that you don't have to worry about getting the mist over your image. So here I've got a punched label from the cream cardstock, a length of green ribbon, a circle label sticker, and a butterfly. That can be any embellishment you like. It can be a butterfly, you can punch something, you can tie a bow, you can add a letter, anything you want there on top. And then I've misted over the top with both the white and the brown. The brown first and then the white on top. just to get that dimension and a bit of aging. Then this frame is already cut here, so that's a 4x6 photo placed behind and trimmed so that it's in just the right spot. And you just adhere it on the back, and I left everything else plain. If you want more writing, you could write up here as well. On the back, it's another 4x6 photo that's cut to fit with a border punch strip down the side, and then just punch the holes back to where they go. And then this little cluster with a label sticker, or label stamp, sorry, and then a label sticker and some writing over the top, and this little flower. So let's walk through that little flower. You can use any paper you'd like for this, but it helps if it's double-sided because you're going to see both sides. And I used just a page from an old book. So you're going to take a page like this and cut a square-ish to start. So now I'm left with this much. And then I'm going to cut a rough circle. Doesn't matter if it's not a perfect size, a perfect shape. Just so that it's rounded. Then take your scissors and cut the spiral shape. So that now you have a piece like this. Once you have this piece, you're going to take from the outside and curl in toward the middle. Now you can either just do it around your finger and curl it in your hand. I find it easier to curl it around a pen. So you're just going to wrap each layer around the layer before. And then you'll get to a point where you just have this end tab. Put a glue dot on this end tab here. Don't rip your flower like I just did. And slide it off the pen. Take the glue dot and squish all the layers down so that they stick to the glue dot. And you can add some ink. You can crumple everything. It will be quite strong where it's wrapped in a circle even if it's fragile paper. So just feel free to mush it until you get it to a point where you like it. And then I added a little pearl brad inside, and I didn't actually stick the brad through. I put a glue dot inside and then stuck the brad there. And so then I added the stamp, the sticker, the flower with just a little bit of ribbon, and then misted over the top. So that's that page. That was the front. And that's the back. Then that leaves you with several 4x6 photos that are left, and you can add as many of these as you would like in pairs because you're going to create a page for themselves. So what you do is you take two 4x6 photos, one for the front and one for the back, and then a mat from the cardstock that's just ever so slightly bigger. And then on the front, go ahead and stick the photo to the cardstock. And on the back, only glue on 3 sides. Don't put any glue in the middle and don't put any glue here so that you can add a tag that will fit inside as a pocket. That way you've got plenty of space to add more journaling, and you can just add more tags. If you have more pictures, you can add more pages. And then take one oval sticker and wrap it around the side, and that will give a little bit of extra security to put everything in place. And then if you hold this piece up against another card, you'll be able to see where to punch your holes so that it will line up perfectly. So it's a photo on the front, a photo on the back with adhesive on 3 sides, and then the tag fits inside like a pocket. Add as many of those as you like to include all your pictures, and that takes us to the back page, which is a bingo card. Start with the title, and you can cut out letters to make it say whatever you would like. I was running out of E's, so I actually used the E that's there in the title with the rest of the lettering underneath covered up. I've added the group photo in the middle that's matted on cardstock and put on pop dots to bring it up off the page. And then finished here with some rub-ons on a label sticker, and the rub-ons just like the front cover with the lines, but then I hand wrote on top of that. And then I've used the white mist at the top and the bottom. On the back, I've just covered it with a scrap of cardstock, and then added a kind of silly photo, a funny photo for the end. If you've got a funny photo from your collection, then you can put it there, or you can just leave it blank, or you might have a perfect little ending picture. And I just added another oval label and letters to say the end, and sprayed with the white and the brown mist in the corner. So I'll take you through all those pages one more time. So we've got the cover with the flower, a photo on the back, and the seed packet with a small photo on the front, a small photo on the back, and journaling inside. Then added a tag to include another photo here, a quote on this page, and a small photo on the back. The clear page where everything is the same on the front and the back. A photo frame with the embellishment here at the bottom, and a full photo on the back with the spiral flower. A 4x6 photo front and back with the pocket inside for the tag. And the bingo card to finish, and the end at the back. So stack them all up in order, and then take my book rings to bind everything together. This one's just going to go through that top ring. So I put everything through one ring and clamp that one shut, and then go to the back and go through the top. And make sure I catch this tag. It's only going to go on that ring. And clamp that one shut. Okay, so that holds everything together, and it will stand up. So the shorter pages are at the front, and it comes up toward the back. You can add more ribbons and charms to the rings if you like. And then there's just one other thing I did to finish all of the pages and just bring it all together, and that is the blue paint. I took the blue paint and a coarse dry paintbrush and just opened it up and dipped the paint in, and then flicked it over different places of embellishment so you could see these little blue paint splashes just here and there, just so that there would be that color coming through and it wouldn't be too overwhelmingly brown. You can use any color that might pick up the colors from your pictures. So that's everything for this mini book. Remember, you can stop and start the video as many times as you want, and it's not going to go offline. You can have this video as long as you need. And thank you for coming to class, and thank you for coming to the crop. I hope you'll share your work with me when you're done. Thanks so much.